Alright then guys, welcome back to the Eagermans. Now in this video I want to talk about a lesson that I've learned in my 20s that I genuinely think most people never really learn, okay? And it's one of those lessons that has completely changed my life, okay? It completely changed the way I look at things, you know, and every time life gets difficult, this is the lesson that comes to my mind, okay? And the lesson came from a quote that I came across a while back, which goes something along the lines of how you should train your mind to look at life the way it is rather than the way you want it to be, okay? And honestly, when I first came across this quote, it just hit me. Once I had internalized it, it was like, shit, this is actually so true. Most people don't look at life the way it is, you know, because if you really think about it, people live in a constant frustration, not because life is actually bad, but because they keep comparing how life is with how they wish it was. You know, like they have a certain expectation of life, and sometimes it's not in congruence with the reality. And when they don't match, when they don't align, they get upset, right? When you start seeing things as they are instead of how you want them to be, you stop worrying about all the little things that don't matter. You know, you become calmer, you become grounded, you become unshakable, and you become more confident, you know, and your ability to navigate through life's challenges just get better and better, because you're now aligning your mindset with the way life it is rather than the way you want it to be, so you're not disappointed all the time, you know. And so I think it's super important to develop the ability to see life as it is rather than the way you want it to be. Like, I'll give you an example, right? Let's say you're watching the Champions League final, right? It's Sunday night, your team's playing, you've got your mates around, you know, the snacks are ready, the vibe's perfect, and you're looking forward to this match, and then your team loses, right? Now, most people lose their minds, right? They start cursing the players, throwing stuff around, blaming the referee, whatever. Like, people even go as far as breaking their TVs, you know? But if you really think about it, guys, football, or like most things in life, it's a 50-50 game, you know? For one team to win, another team has to lose. You know, that's just the reality of it, right? If your mood depends on which side that coin lands on, then you're not living in reality. You're living in emotional fantasy, right? That's literally what it is. You shouldn't have any reasons to be upset and get frustrated because your team lost. And I understand there's emotional attachments we've made with certain things like sports, but even then, it's fantasy. It really is fantasy, because at the end of the day, none of this shit really matters, right? It doesn't affect your life in any way. It doesn't improve it in any way. So why let it affect you, right? Reality, it doesn't bend for anyone, right? It doesn't care about your feelings or how much, you know, you wanted something to go your way. It's like a saying we have in the UK that goes, "It is what it is." You know, like, and it literally, that's the case for most things. It is what it is. If it's not in your control and you can't do anything about it, it is what it is, you know. And the sooner you accept that, the less frustrated you will be in life, and the less you let things get to your head, you know. Like, you have to only focus on the things that you can control. Stop letting the uncontrollables control you. Like, you know, I've realized most people let uncontrollable things dictate how they feel, you know. Like, for example, the weather's bad today, right? So their entire mood gets ruined because it's raining, even though the weather's not really in their control, right? Someone's rude to them, so they carry that energy the whole day, as if, you know, they're in control of how others are supposed to, how they're supposed to act and behave and feel. Like, right, the train's late, so now, you know, you hate going to work, or you're pissed off the whole day, right? It's like I get it, you know, it's easy to react. Right, it is very easy. We're creatures of emotions at the end of the day. But if you think long term, it's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time, right? You can't control the fucking weather, can you? Right? You can't control other people's moods, right? You can't control whether your coffee tastes burnt, or, you know, if traffic's heavy. Like, you know, like, the things that you can control, however, right, are the things that can change the way you go about life, right? Because they're in the palms of your hands, right? And you can control how you respond, right? That's where your real strength lies. It's like it's like the 80-20 rule that I keep on talking about, right? That I actually very, very deeply believe in, which is that only 20% of what happens to you actually matters. The other 80 is just noise. It's bullshit, okay? It's not producing any real results in your life, right? Stuff that don't really deserve your mental energy or your time. So when you learn to tune out that 80%, life just it becomes a lot more peaceful, right? You start moving with focus. You stop reacting to nonsense. You get very clear on what truly deserves your energy and what doesn't. And I think that's a superpower that most people don't have. It's a superpower, and I'm almost saying that you should develop this fuck it mindset, right? Like this attitude towards life where you don't care about most of the things that are happening because they're not having any positive effect on your life at the end of the day, right? It's like the train's late. Fuck it. It is what it is. Another train will come in the next 5 to 10 minutes, right? The coffee is horrible. Well, fuck it. At least it will wake you up, right? The girl you're talking to is not showing any interest. Like, fuck it. There's someone out there who will. Well, there's the ocean full of fish out there. Like, the weather's awful. All right, fuck it. It's not like you're made out of sugar. You'll survive. You'll get through it. Even at work, like people constantly complaining about things and creating a toxic environment. Like, you don't have to engage in any of that. It's got nothing to do with you. It's not going to affect your life. If anything, it's just going to drain you of your precious energy and time. It's like, when you're always wishing things were different, you start living in a delusion, right? You start expecting life to play by your emotional rules, and it never does. That's just not how life's supposed to work. Like, no wonder why you'll be left disappointed, right? You can't be in the middle of a war and pretend everything is going okay. It's not. You have to be in the moment and face the reality. Otherwise, you're gonna get killed, right? Life will quite literally walk all over you like a monster, right? So, the moment you stop fighting reality, right, you stop suffering unnecessarily. Like, that's something that I believe in, and I'm so glad that it's a lesson I took on pretty early in life. Like, that's where peace comes from. It comes from acceptance. It doesn't come from avoidance. If you just avoid things, if you just avoid the reality, it's gonna come back and bite you even harder. Like, that's even from my personal experience. I work in hospitality. I work in a hotel, right? I see this every day in my own job. Like, as a manager, I'm dealing with crisis, right? I'm dealing with the times when shit goes south, right? Things like electrical outages, fire alarms, right? Massive guest complaints where they literally want like their entire stay refunded, right? System errors, right? Short staffed shifts, staff members complaining about each other or creating a toxic environment, gossiping, like, you name it, all that bullshit. And it's chaotic sometimes, right? But that quote I mentioned earlier always sits in the back of my mind. Like, I always, whenever things get difficult, whether in personal life or in professional life, I just remind myself to look at life the way it is rather than the way I want it to be, because I'd want everything to go my way perfectly fine, a smooth ride, but that's just not how life is. Like, every time something goes wrong, instead of losing my head or getting frustrated, I remind myself, this is my job, this is the reality, right? It's literally my job to deal with problems, right? To stay calm under pressure, to find solutions, when everything's falling apart. So instead of thinking, why does this always happen to me? I flip it, right? I flip it and I look at the positive side of it, which is, all right, how can I get better at handling this? The moment you start looking at life from this lens, you go from being problem orientated to solution orientated, and that shift in perspective changes everything. It changes your entire game, okay, your entire approach towards life, because when you stop blaming the factors that are outside of your control, you start improving the things within your control, right? And it sounds like common sense, but most people don't do it. Most people, the amount of times they let the uncontrollables control them is just insane, and then they wonder how their life is so miserable. Like, you grow by facing reality, right? By accepting reality and by mastering it, not by wishing it was easier or it was your way. Because let's be honest, guys, that's never going to be the case, right? And there's almost an element of becoming ruthless here as well, like, ruthlessly realistic. When you adopt this mindset, you become a bit harsh, a bit ruthless, not in a bad way, but like in a mentally bulletproof way where basically nothing can get through to you, right? You stop getting emotionally dragged by life's little inconveniences, right? You stop letting every small thing dictate your energy, right? You start operating from logic, not from emotion. And people start to notice that around you. And as a result of that, they might even start respecting you more, right? Because you're calm when everyone else is panicking. You have a rational way of operating in life that actually many people don't, right? Look around you. How many people that you know actually look at life the way it is rather than the way they want it to be? I guarantee you there's not many. There's not many, right? When people start respecting you because you work under pressure, that's when you realize, okay, this is what real strength looks like. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about caring selectively, right? It's about knowing what you care about and what you don't, like distinguishing that, like finding, like having the ability to distinguish the difference, right? You care about what you can change and let go of what you can't. That's all it is. That's literally all it is. So the only point that I'm trying to make in this video without waffling is that it's very important for you to train your mind to see life the way it is, not the way you wish it was, right? Stop wasting your energy fighting the reality. Stop letting small things ruin your peace. Stop expecting the world to bend for your emotions. It won't. And if you continue to expect these sort of things from life, you will be left disappointed and you will be left frustrated, right? When you accept things as they are, the missed trains, the rude people, the bad weather, the unexpected problems, right? And you respond with composure instead of frustration, right? That's when you truly become grounded. That's when you're like, okay, hold on, let me take this a step at a time and control it as much as I can to the best of my ability, and whatever that's not in my control is quite frankly not worth worrying about. It's just not worth worrying about. And you can use that energy to spend towards something that actually makes a difference. And I feel like that's a lesson I've learned in my 20s, a lesson that most people truly learn. I don't think they truly internalize something like this, man. It's a real fucking game changer. Like, once you stop trying to control everything outside you, you finally gain control of the only thing that ever mattered, which is just yourself. And I know it's a bit selfish, but I think that's the way to go about it. Sometimes you have to be selfish. Sometimes you have to have the ability to say, fuck this, fuck you, not worth my time, not worth my energy. I'm not, here for this bullshit. It's about being efficient in life. I think that's the point I'm trying to get at, right? When you choose to only care about things that matter, you become very efficient in life. You become effective, and that's when you start seeing results faster. So that's a lesson that I've learned in my life, and it has served me pretty brilliantly, I would say, so far, and I think it will continue to, especially because I'm on the path of entrepreneurship, business, and that's not the easiest path to go down. It's a path full of loneliness, lack of support from others. You're pretty much in this game on your own, and when you're alone, you have to be efficient because you don't have many people trying to help you. And a mindset like this can really take you far. It really can. So if you think, or if your life is miserable right now and you're frustrated and your life is very emotionally dictated at the moment, take a step back and ask yourself, are 80% of the things you're focusing on really worth focusing on? Like, are they really going to produce any results later down the line? Because they probably won't. So focus on the 20% that make all the difference and double down on that. And that's when you'll become ruthlessly efficient and effective at life. And that's when you'll start seeing results. Okay, so just a quick one from me, a lesson that I've learned, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. So yeah, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.